Hello friends, and welcome to this video in this series where we shall be looking at scope in JavaScript. So we've already seen in the previous video how to create function expression and assign it as an argument to another function. In this video, let's look at scope. Scope is the current context of execution in which values, expressions, and even functions are visible or can be referenced. There are different kinds of scope in JavaScript. Let's start to take a look at some of them. So global scope. What is a global scope? When we have a JavaScript file like this space we're seeing right here is what is known as a global scope. So all the variables and even functions that we'll be writing directly in this space will be in the global scope. So if, for example, I declare a variable of namer and assign Dominic to that variable, this namer right here is in the global scope. And if I define a function right here, this function is also in the global scope. And functions or variables in the global scope are accessible anywhere within the code. So namer is accessible anywhere within the code. And that's why within this printer function, we can log this namer variable to the console. So we can say console.log namer. And when I call this printer function, we will see that namer will be logged to the console. That is, Dominic will be logged onto the console. So let me save my file. And right here, we can see that Dominic has been logged onto the console. We've also said that this printer function is in a global scope. And that's why we're able to call it directly right here. So this namer variable and the printer function, they are both in the global scope. So we can access them anywhere. Now we'll take a look at the next set of scope that we have in JavaScript, which is a function scope. In order to understand the function scope, I'm going to delete all of the codes that we have right here. Right here, I'm going to declare a function, and I'm going to call it funct1. So what is a function scope? Right here, within this function block, all the codes that we'll be writing inside of this funct1 function is in the function scope and is within the scope of this funct1 function. So if, for example, I declare a variable, let's name1 equals a berry. This name1 variable is within the scope of this function right here. And all the codes we're writing inside of the function 1 is inside of the function scope. In this case, the funct1 scope. And variables and even functions that we write within a function are not accessible to the global scope. They are only accessible within that particular function they've been defined. So if outside of this function, we try to log name1 to the console, we're going to get a reference error. So I'm going to say console.log name1 and save. Right here, we get a reference error. Can't find variable name1. And that's because this name1 is in the function scope. It's within this funct1 function right here. And so it is not accessible outside of this funct1 function. Now, let's define a function within this funct1 function. So I'm going to come down here and define another function. I'm going to call it funct2, like so. Now, this funct2 function right here is within the funct1 function. So let's write some codes within the funct2 function. Let's declare a variable. Let's name2 equals Dominic. This name2 variable right here is only accessible within the funct2 function right here. So even funct1 will not be able to access this name2 variable right here because it is right within funct2. So let's go to the scope of this funct1 function. So we can come here and try to console log name2. All right. So within this funct1, I'm trying to console log name2. And in fact, let me have this name1 removed. And name2 is within the funct2 function right here. Let me call the funct1 function and try to have it log to the console name2. We're still going to get a reference error. So let me save. So as soon as I save, we still get a reference error that says can't find variable name2. And the reason is because name2 is within funct2 function right here, and is not accessible within funct1 scope, and is not even accessible on the global scope. But then this funct2 function can access all the variables that are on the global scope and within this funct1 function. So on the global scope, I'm going to declare a variable that says let sweet equals sugar. And then within the funct1 scope, I'm going to declare a variable that says let sweet2 equals milk. Within this funct2 function, I'm going to try to log sweet variable right here and sweet2 variable to the console. Let me take this one away first of all. And then within the funct2 function, let me say console.log sweet, and I can put a comma and say sweet2. Now we're going to see sugar and milk logged to the console. That is because this funct2 function can access the variables within funct1 and can also access the variable on the global scope. After this funct2 declaration right here, I'm going to try to call the funct2 function. So the funct2 function is called within this funct1, right? And of course, this funct1 has access to this funct2 function as a function. It doesn't have access to the variables and other things declared within the funct2. So that's why we're able to call funct2 function right here within the funct1 function. So when I save this file, and we can see that funct1 has been called on line 19. This funct2 function has been called within the scope of funct1 function right here. And of course, the funct1 function has access to the funct2 function because the funct2 function is directly within the funct1 function. But then the funct1 cannot access the name2 variable or any other code within this funct2. So after calling funct2 function right here on line 19, we're now calling the funct1 function to execute. So when we save, we're going to see that sugar and milk will be logged to the console. So we can see sugar, milk has been logged onto the console. So what is happening here is that this funct2 function can access variables within funct1 and variables outside of funct1, that is variables on the global scope. But then variables or codes on the global scope right here cannot access anything within funct2. And even funct1 cannot access the variables within this funct2. So right now, I want to test your knowledge on the global scope and the function scope. So within my code here, I'm going to have all this deleted and have a set of instructions that I want you to follow to finish this exercise. So what I want you to do is right here. First of all, you're going to declare a function within another function. And within the inner function, you declare a variable. Now, console.log that variable in the outer function. And log that same variable in the global scope. And check your result. So you can pause this video at this point and take on this challenge. Alright then, to solve this problem, I'm going to declare a function. So I'm going to say function and give it the name of funct1. And within this funct1 function, I'm going to declare another function and call it funct2. Now, within the inner function, I'm going to declare a variable. So I'm going to declare a variable here. Let name1 equals Dominic. And then I'm going to log that variable in the outer function. So remember, this is the inner function, and this funct1 right here is the outer function. So I'm going to try to log name1 in the scope of the funct1 function, which is the outer function. So I'm going to say console.log name1. Now, the next thing is to log that same variable in the global scope. So where is the global scope? The global scope is just outside of this function, right? So I'm going to say console.log name1. All right. So before I check my result, I need to call this function, right? The funct1 function. And I'm going to say funct1 like this. So when I save, we see that we get a reference error. Can't find variable name1. All right. And that error occurred on line 9 right here. So when I click on this place, it says on line 9, can't find variable name. I'm going to expand on my browser's window. Can't find variable name1. And the error first occurred on line 9. So it didn't even get inside of this function 1 here. So this function 1 right here was not even able to run because an error occurred on line 9. I'm going to minimize the window. So what I'm going to do now is log this name1 variable right within the funct2 function right here where it was declared. So I'm going to come down here and say console.log name1 like so. So I'm going to take this other log statement away, and then I need to call the funct2 function, right? So I'm going to call the funct2 function right here. And remember, the funct2 function is right within the scope of the funct1 function right here. So on line 24, I'm calling the funct1 function. So it's going to run everything within its block, all right? And we expect Dominic to be printed to the console. Since name1 was declared inside of the funct2 function, and we're logging it to the console right inside of the funct2 function. So as soon as I save, we see that Dominic gets logged onto the console. So that, my friends, is the basics of scope in JavaScript. In the next video, we're going to look at one more type of scope called the block scope. And in that same video, we're going to be looking at loops in JavaScript. So see you in the next video. Please, my friends, like my videos and subscribe to my channel. It will go a long way in helping me to create videos like this.